to my YouTube channel. If you are new to the Book Eater family, welcome, and if you are a returning family member, welcome back. I am super sorry that this video is probably about a week late. I have been really unwell these past couple of days. I'm still not 100%, but I have to film for you guys and give you guys the content. And I really want to wrap up my September, which was a pretty decent month. Even though I was still kind of a bit so-so with my reading, I actually surprised myself with the amount of books I read in the end of the day, which was really cool. So for most of these, the reviews are already up on my blog, which I will put a link down below. And yeah, so the first book I read was this book, which was Indigo Out, which was an ARC. And yeah, it was really different storyline, which I was super happy for. I think for me, Australian publishers are kind of niche. You have the smaller publishers which are kind of only publishing rural romances, which is really frustrating, or like just kind of, you know, books about Australia like in the 1970s and those kinds of things. And I just feel like there's just not a lot of variety. So I was super excited that Wakefield Press actually published this, which it's so futuristic, it's so out of this world, and it's a dystopian, obviously YA, but basically Scarlett, it's a world that revolves around science basically, which was really cool. And Scarlett's mother was in the fertility lab because on the planet of, hang on, I'll tell you the planet's name. Oh my god, Gallibrath, that's right. So on the planet of Gallibrath, people don't have children normally. They kind of get the child from the lab, so that it's like a business basically. This planet completely operates like a business. And so what happens is there's like a few leader heads and they control the population, they control everything. And so there's scientists who are in charge of fertility, and they noticed that a few people were actually fertile on their own. So there was a big undernote in this book about fertility and about controlling fertility. But obviously the wider story of it was a conspiracy theory about if her mum was actually dead, how her mum actually died, and she went on a quest with her friends to find her mum, which she ended up finding her alive. So yeah, it was really great. I gave it 3.5 stars, and yeah, I just thought I made a lot of bullet points, as you can see. I just thought, yeah, I really liked the difference in the storyline. What I didn't really enjoy was the fact that it was told by 3 different POVs. It made it very difficult to kind of understand the storyline at times, and it made it difficult to understand who was talking because there wasn't a lot of differentiation between the female and male POV. So you would kind of, as you were reading, you would think you're reading a female character like Scarlett or Rumi, but you were actually not. So I found that very difficult. So that's why I only gave it 3.5 stars. Excuse me. So the next book I read was Rivers of London, and I was super excited to read this book because I really liked the idea of a detective of the underworld, basically. And when I say underworld, I mean like vampires, werewolves, wizards, that kind of thing, ghosts. So I really liked this concept and idea, but the delivery of it was so bad. The delivery was horrible. In saying all that, I am going to read the second book in the series. Usually I am a second book reader, just because I hate slow moving books. I get very bored with them. In fact, I have like 4 books already open right now, and they're all too slow, so that's why I stopped reading them. But basically, yeah, so I like to fast forward kind of the nitty gritty stuff because you summarize it anyway in the second book. But I just felt like the author was really slow in explaining absolutely everything, and it just made it really boring. But I also really like the fact this was told from a male point of view, so it was really different. A lot of books I read are told from a female point of view, so it was really interesting. Yeah, so I gave this one 3 stars. That was just kind of fantasy, I guess, fantasy thriller. So this book here, I actually started reading last month in August. Yeah, August. This was a really difficult book to read. I'm not gonna lie. I think this could be actually the worst book I've read this year. It was just atrocious. It was just... I still don't understand crackling with energy. There was no energy. There was no, like, romance. There was no... It was boring. And I was so excited because so many people say V.E. Schwab is amazing, and I've got like all of her books on my to buy list, and this one was just such a letdown. Like, it was horrid. Yeah, and then I found out there's a second book in the series. So I have to read that now. Hopefully it gets better. It was just, the concept was just way too out there, way too far away, and it just didn't make sense. Yeah, not my favorite book this month. So, next we have Helena Hunting, who, she is an automatic buy author. I love her so much. But I have to say, this is probably the most disappointing book I've read of hers. It just wasn't as good as some of her other books, which, you know, it was still great. I still rated it 3 warm and fuzzies. And a 4-star overall, but it was just not, I guess, like, there just wasn't as much chemistry between the 2 characters. I don't know, I'm lacking chemistry right now, and I don't know what's wrong with me. I need something with some serious chemistry, and it just didn't deliver, unfortunately. But this was a really cute concept. You know, Dax is a Hollywood, child Hollywood star. Hollywood child star? I don't know. So yeah, he was famous when he was younger, and then he goes and meets Kaylin at law school, and they kind of had a thing in law school, and then he kind of toughs her over and gets the top grade, and so she kind of carries that grudge until his parents walk in and then they set up a will, basically, and Dax is his younger sister's guardian. The concept of it was a little far-fetched, I've got to be honest with you. There were quite a few things in this book I was like, if this wasn't in a book, would this happen in real life? And I think for me, when I read romance novels, I'm not looking like rom-com, chick lit, all that stuff. Chick lit, that's fantastic, wow. Yeah, but when I read like chick lit, I'm looking for something that could happen in real life. I'm not saying like, you know, one day I'm gonna meet a prince and get married, because that's just like really far-fetched, and that's a genre, that's a subtype, a trope. But like Helena Hunting usually writes like books that are easily relatable, and I just felt like this one was probably a little bit too far fetched. So yeah, that one. And next I read the second book in the Red Queen series, which was Glass Sword. I gave this 4 stars. It was remarkably better than the first book in the series, but honestly, why did you kill off a character in the second book? Like, oh my god, I was in tears. But okay, my thought process with this book, I was lost, because the whole point of an author's prerogative is to get you to root for a character. So we didn't even have, like, in the first book, we had a lot of battles and stuff, but the people that died were really insignificant, you know, not even minor characters, just like, you know, you read their name and what they were, and then you're like, they're dead. Come the second book, we're still leading up to the battle. The battle is when you're going to lose one of the main characters. That is the point where one of the main characters is going to die. And why would you kill off a character that is semi-main, who has the potential to become a main character, in the second book? Like, what? He was in the Revolution. Why would you kill him off in the second book? Duh! Yeah, so I was pretty pissed off with that, and it just kind of made no sense. But then I was kind of like, who's going to be standing then if you're killing everyone off now? Who's going to be standing then come the last book? Who knows? Or is like, yeah. Anyway, so that was that one. And the final book I read this month was The Healer, which I love historical romances. I just think they're so beautiful. I'm a history buff anyway. And so this is a Scottish Highlands historical romance. I'm a big Outlander fan. I actually am an Outlander movie fan. I haven't read the books yet, but I hope to soon. And so yeah, I selected this book because I liked the idea that she was a healer. And so the Scottish laird, his brother had hurt himself, and so she swapped herself in place of her younger brother, who was taken by the Scottish because she's English, so it was on the border. And so yeah, she swapped herself in his place, and she helped heal his brother. And then yeah, it was a really beautiful, sweet story. I gave it 4 stars. I read this within like 4 hours, to be honest with you. I would have given it 5 stars had they have had steamier scenes. I just thought it just needed a little bit more zhuzhing. Yeah, on the zhuzh scale it was like 3. But yeah, so otherwise, yeah, it was a really nice, light, easy read, and just kind of made you feel good. So yeah, that was my September. It was a pretty interesting month. Lots of different genres in here, which is fantastic. I like to really broaden myself across reading lots of different genres, because I think that makes a well-rounded person. And I also think sometimes you tend to get stuck in a pigeonhole if you only read one genre. So yeah, that's it. That's me wrapped up for September, and I hope you guys all had a great September reading month. And if you guys read any of the same books as me, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. And I hope to see you all in my next video. So, bye.